Today we got a major dilemma as Nazardine Imavov won last night. We thought we had Roman Dolidze. It turns out that's not the case. We actually picked Imavov. So on the watch party last night, I was rooting for the wrong guy. Some people weighing in says, Bo Jackson says, Chris Cross, you picked both guys. I said I messed up. Thought I picked Roman. 2-0 on the season. Ride with you on this one, Imavov. So that's the way it turned out last night, man. And we're going to get into it. Major controversy next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the Community MMA with your host, Chris Cross.
Yes! Yes! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Baby!
Welcome to the TCMMA podcast. It's your boy Chris Cross. And we messed up last night to our benefit. I'm sitting there rooting for Roman Dolidze, and the whole time I picked Imavov to win, and he pulled it out. So we're actually 3-0 on the year. Unbelievable. I mean, I woke up to a good thing today. We really thought it was doomsday last night. Thought we were 5-7-1. Instead, we're 6-6. And let's just get right to it. I mean, this is what it looked like last night. We get the final three to move to 6-6, and Imavov wins. We're 3-0 in the main event, and a dismal 20-15 overall. But we'll pick up the pace there. Bottom line is, at least we've been 6-6 the last 2 weeks, so not great. Some tough fights to predict, but that's the way it turned out last night, and we'll take it. I mean, we will absolutely take this one. Thank goodness I was wrong. So again, last night on the watch party, I'm rooting for Roman the whole fight. I want him to grind out a victory. I was happy that Imavov lost a point, and the whole time I'm rooting for the wrong guy, at least in terms of the predictions. But there were some good fights last night. The last two, Renato Moicano, Drew Dober, decision. Imavov, Dolidze, decision. But there were some good finishes. Let's get into the first one. Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikov. And whenever Salikov loads up, oh, big right by Brown. And that's it. Holy cow. Salikov went right down, and Randy Brown just kind of couldn't believe it. It took him like 2 or 3 seconds before he went in and threw another. But Salikov just went right down on the big right hand. I got to see this replay because it was a huge delayed reaction by Randy Brown. I mean, huge delayed reaction. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to see. That's what we want to see. All right, here's a replay from the top. Okay, he lands a jab twice. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, he set it up nice. And Salikov just covered up. And that was it. Boom. Got him. All right, so big win for Randy Brown. He got the job done, man. Big welterweight win here for him at UFC Vegas 85. Yeah, and that kick-started it, right? That kick-started the comeback. We were 3-6 going into the big three, but we always rely on the big three to get us out of trouble if it needs to. One fight we didn't have trouble in, too, was Stenberger Greenbow. Remember, The Rock bought this guy a house. He's got the ability to train now without having to worry about money and his family, and it paid off last night. All right, Stenberger Greenbow and Pete Rodriguez is on. And let's see, I mean, The Rock bought a house for Stenberger Greenbow. He doesn't have to worry about money as much right now. He can train. And this is the first time we've seen him in a while. He lands it right early. Pete Rodriguez, short guy with power who can present problems. Greenbow saying this week in his interview he's going to be the UFC champ by the end of the year. Oh, big right! Pete Rodriguez is down. Themba's pounding away, and it's over. Herb Dean wastes no time. And Pete Rodriguez kind of gets up to protest, but yeah, he's clearly a good stoppage. I mean, you see him get up, and Themba jumps on top of the fence, and we've been waiting for a big finish, and Themba gives it to us. Yeah, so Garimbo gets the big win in 32 seconds. 32 seconds. You got to credit this guy, right? I mean, big win in just 32 seconds. And he says he's going to be champ by the end of the year. That's almost impossible. But he's well on his way, and he looks like an athlete. He looks like a fighter. And I'm buying into the hype. Future welterweight champ. He even says he'll be Shavkat. I don't know about that, but, you know, it is what it is. But that's how things turned out last night, man. Great night of fighting. Great night. And we got UFC Fight Night again this week at the Apex Center, UFC Vegas 86. And let's get it on in your main event at UFC Vegas 86. Jack Hermansson 23-8 versus Joe Pyfer 12-2. And you know this is going to be a good one. Very tough to predict. We're 3-0 on the year. We need this one. So let's get into the prediction right now. In the middleweight division at UFC Vegas 86, your main event, you got Jack Hermansson taking on Joe Pyfer. Now Hermansson's coming in at 23-8. Pyfer just 12-2. Pyfer's 1 inch taller though at 6'2". He's 27. Hermansson 35. So one guy entering the prime, one guy leaving his prime. Hermansson and Pyfer both stand right-handed. Hermansson's got a 2-inch reach advantage. He lands like 5.1 significant strikes per minute. Not bad at all. Pyfer 3.6. Both guys can land takedowns. I mean, Hermansson can go to the ground if he needs to. He lands like 1 every other round. Pyfer's right on pace with about 1 per round. And he's the favorite. I'm not so sure yet, though. Let's see. 75% takedown defense for the Joker, Hermansson, but he lost to Delice in his last fight by KO. Won a decision over Chris Curtis, though. Lost to Sean Strickland by a split decision. So that ought to tell you that Hermansson is still right there. Pyfer, 50% takedown defense. And that's going to be an interesting thing, right? It just goes to the ground. Well, Pyfer won his last fight against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, a good fighter. Beat him by submission. Beat Gerald Meerschaert, good fighter. First round KO. Wow. Meerschaert won like 4 out of 5. I think that's the one he lost. He beat Alan Almadowski by KO. Beat Ozzy Diaz by KO. So this guy's won 4 in a row. Interesting. I'm worried about Joe Pyfer on the ground, but not so worried that I'm going to go against him. I'm putting my main event prediction on Joe Pyfer to get this thing done. I'm nervous about the ground and nervous about the feet, but I like the heart this guy has, and he has the momentum. And if he can beat Hermansson, that's big for his resume. So he's going to be pumped up. I like Joe Pyfer to squeak this thing out. I don't know how it's going to happen because I don't see an angle. I just like his heart. He wins me to 13-2, middleweight division, UFC Vegas 86. Yeah, so that's going to be a tough fight this weekend, and we're taking a chance. And we got the right to take a chance. We're 3-0. 3-0 on the year. So this is an opportunity to continue rolling at 4-0, taking a little chance here, but hopefully he can get the job done. As we move into the co-main event at UFC Vegas 86, Dan 50K Ige 17-7 versus Andre Fili 23-10. 2 veterans of the game and part of the big 3. We're going to need this one for sure. Let's get into it. In the featherweight division at UFC Vegas 86, you got Dan 50K Ige taking on Andre Fili. Now Ige 17-7. Fili 23-10. Fili's 4 inches taller at 5'11". He's 33. Ige 32. Perfect. Fili 3-inch reach advantage. He stands right-handed. Ige stands right-handed as well. Both guys like 3.8, 3.9 significant strikes per minute, so close there. Fili has a little bit of an advantage in terms of takedowns. He lands like 2 per every 3 rounds. Ige gets 1 every 3 rounds. So there's going to be a mixture of stand-up striking and a ground game here in this one, especially with Ige's 52% takedown defense. 58. Still not great either way. Lost to Bryce Mitchell by decision, but he beat Nate Landwehr and Damon Jackson, and he KO'd Damon Jackson. So he's won 2 of his last 3, but lost the last one. Fili, on the other hand, won 2 of his last 3, beating Lucas Almeida by KO. Bill Algeo, split decision, lost to Nathaniel Wood by decision. He's got a 70% takedown defense. So Fili, better takedown defense, more takedowns. Striking is close. That's where I'm worried for Feely. But I got to lean towards Feely in this one, even though I like Dan 50K Ige. I like the guy, and he's capable of winning fights at any time. But with this one, I got to go with the numbers because I'm not really sure. So I like Feely to get the win and move to 24-10, and he's going to do it. It'll be even in the strikes, but he should have a little bit of ground game here, like 5 or 6 minutes of control, hopefully. Even up in the significant strikes, and he'll squeak out a victory. So that's what I'm banking on right here in the featherweight division at UFC Vegas 86. Yeah, so the tough fights continue week to week, man. And Ige versus Feely is going to be a battle to the end. Either guy can win. And as always, we're going to be rooting on our prediction first and foremost. It's very rare we make a prediction and go the other way. It happens, but it's rare. And in this one, we got to go with the pick. So we continue rolling this weekend, man. 2 big fights coming up. We'll be back during the week, of course, to break down some other fights because one of the big 3 changed. You now got Ihor Potieria coming in on short notice to take a fight against Robert Brzezinski, I believe. And, we'll have more on that prediction. We weren't prepared because the fight changed last night during fight night, so we don't have the prediction ready. It is what it is. But as we jump into the Q&A, Kenneth Brunner is back. We haven't seen him in a while. I said, I don't know what to say anymore, Chris. It seems to me that the UFC is intentionally trying to destroy Khamzat's career path in the company. If Khamzat's last name was Pereira, he'd have 3 belts right now. That's a fact. Each day that goes by, I like the UFC as an organization less. And there's a lot of people frustrated because Brunner was weighing in all the time, keeping track, and now it's just getting to the point where it's like if you're a Khamzat fan, you're just sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting. At PHAT Man 23 says Khamzat with a little more discipline and improved cardio will be unstoppable. Yeah, I agree. John Phillips' fight was 185 too, I think. So maybe he's got 3 middleweight fights under his belt, is what Chris Janta is saying. Makes sense. Let's go money, says GR Boxing. Fernando Moicano got the win. Randy Brown's KO short. One person says, dang. Another says stuff was crazy last night in the Kizriev Muradov fight. That fight ended in like 30 seconds, maybe a minute on the poke. No contest. At Charlie Toom says, who cares about Khamzat? It will take Dana all year to book a fight anyway. By the time he gets it booked, it won't matter. That's kind of what it feels like. It will matter, but not right now. Phil McLean says, I thought all these guys were supposed to be tough. Fighting once a year and turning down fight offers isn't tough. And yeah, I would be led to believe that Khamzat turned down a fight offer. That's why he was upset, because the fight offer was not for the title. And he didn't like it. At the Master says, didn't Izzy say he wants some time off? So why not make DDP versus Khamzat for UFC 300? I agree. Khamzat is undoubtedly a big star in the UFC right now. Every fan wants to see him fight for the title. Dreykus will not fight Khamzat on 3 months rest. He might fight Izzy for the payday. And the UFC would want Izzy more than Khamzat right now because Izzy's going to bring eyeballs to 300, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. It's not right, but that's just the way it is. At Travis, Leonhardt says Conor can still box. He's always had a gift there, but it's MMA, and I think that's why Conor loses. But the way Chandler comes out first round, I think someone gets sparked or Chandler gets the decision. Yeah, they're going to come out hot and heavy in the first round. Definitely. You don't have to know what he's talking about. You just have to accept that he is the GOAT and right. Talking about Chael Sonnen. Wow. The Gliz says Chael just like to hear his own voice. Yeah. So you got some Chael fans and you got some going against him in the Q&A. So a lot at stake, a lot coming in the near future. Is Khamzat going to be fighting anytime soon? I say no. I'd love to tell you yes, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Great night of fighting last night, UFC Vegas 85. Super Bowl's on deck this week at UFC Vegas 86 and then a Super Bowl the next day. And you know what that means. Football's coming to an end. All eyeballs turn to the UFC for the next 6 to 8 months. It's the only thing to watch. I mean, yeah, there's basketball, but you're still going to watch UFC on Saturday nights. First and foremost. Please believe it. And that's the way it goes. Listen, quick podcast today. We wanted to get in and get out. It's freezing out here. Got a Little League basketball game to get to. A lot happening on this Sunday. But for now, it's your boy Chris Cross. I hope you all have a great day, and God bless. As always, peace.